Disclaimer. The video serves informational and entertainment purpose only. The content is considered speculative and should not be treated as confirmed fact. We encourage you to conduct your research and form your conclusion. They say, pride comes before the fall. But for Blake Lively, it's looking less like a gentle tumble and more like a canyon dive into the very abyss of her own making. Her grand, sweeping defamation dreams, crushed beneath the gavel of a judge who clearly doesn't suffer fools gladly. Her carefully crafted claims of emotional distress vanished into thin air, evaporating like a mirage in the desert heat. This isn't just a trivial legal setback, besties. This is a blockbuster breakdown, a cinematic catastrophe playing out in real time, right before our very eyes. And trust me, you won't want to miss a single scintillating second. For months, the whispers have grown louder, the legal documents piling higher than a Hollywood ego on awards night. We've watched, breath held, as the glamorous facade of Blake Lively, once the undisputed queen of aspirational lifestyles and picture-perfect romance, began to crack, not a tiny fissure, mind you, but a glaring, unmistakable rift that exposed the raw, ugly underbelly of a high-stakes courtroom drama. This isn't just about a movie that went sideways. Oh no, this is about power, about perceived slights, about a celebrity's belief that their star power somehow grants them immunity from the cold, hard realities of law and contracts. And the universe, or perhaps more accurately, Judge Lehman, seems to be delivering a very loud, very clear message. No one is above the law, not even a Hollywood A-lister. The air in the courtroom, usually thick with legal jargon and hushed tones, was practically electric yesterday. Every single person in that room, from the most seasoned attorneys to the eager court stenographers, knew they were witnessing a pivotal moment. A moment that could, quite literally, rewrite the script of Blake Lively's public narrative. When Judge Lehman dropped his ruling, it wasn't a gentle nudge. It was a mighty hammer blow that reverberated far beyond the hallowed halls of justice. Her defamation claims, gone. Just like that, wiped clean from the docket. The very foundation of her aggressive lawsuit against Justin Baldoni and the Wayfair parties crumbled like a poorly built movie set. Think about that for a second. The entire premise of her initial legal onslaught, the very heart of her accusation that she was somehow smeared and wronged, was decimated. But wait, there's more. Because the judge, in his infinite wisdom, didn't just play defense for Baldoni. Oh no, he went on the offensive. Or rather, he empowered Baldoni's team to go on the offensive. While Lively's team was busy celebrating a hollow victory to the press, a predictable, almost desperate attempt to control the narrative, Judge Lehman was busy throwing open the doors for Baldoni. He didn't just allow them to amend their complaints. He invited them to refine their allegations, to dig deeper, to showcase additional evidence that could turn the tables faster than a Hollywood producer drops a failing project. And what kind of evidence are we talking about here? We're talking about contracts. Those dry, seemingly boring legal documents that suddenly become explosive when they reveal precisely who promised what, and more importantly, who failed to deliver. The stage is set, the players are in position, and the next act promises to be even more unpredictable and explosive than anything we've seen so far. Are you ready for it? Because trust me, Hollywood, the courtroom, and the internet are all holding their breath.
I'm gonna stand. It's a skirt. It's painted. It's a leather, vintage, like pencil skirt.
Well, good morning, you two. Welcome to. I know you've been wearing a lot of really cool flowery outfits for this because, of course, you play a florist. Through that little number, that looks great.
Oh, it's so cute. Do you want to see?
Yep.
I'm gonna stand. It's a skirt. It's painted. It's a leather, vintage, like pencil skirt. And then this is a top that's printed from the painted Dauphine Net. She's a New York City designer.
That one's bang on brand, isn't it?
Yes, lots of flowers. You're wearing flowers.
I mean,
Imagine it. A Hollywood courtroom, usually a mere backdrop for fictional dramas, now stands as the unyielding stage for a real-life saga of power, betrayal, and shattered reputations. At the epicenter of this legal maelstrom, Blake Lively, not just an actress, but an icon of effortless glamour, a titan of aspirational lifestyles, and the very embodiment of a picture-perfect Hollywood romance. Yet, she now finds herself battling, not for an Oscar, but to salvage her very legacy, her image, and perhaps her future in an industry that can be as cruel as it is captivating. On the opposing side stands Justin Baldoni, once celebrated, now fighting tooth and nail to reclaim his name, to scrub clean the stain of what he alleges were devastatingly false accusations of sexual harassment and retaliation. He's not just battling Blake Lively, he's battling the monster of cancel culture. the swift, unforgiving judgment of public opinion that can dismantle a career faster than a poorly worded tweet. The air in this courtroom isn't just thick with legal jargon. It's practically humming with the silent, breathless anticipation of what comes next. The cultural stakes here, my friends, couldn't be higher. This isn't just about a squabble over a movie or a clash of egos. This is about the very fabric of their careers, the millions of dollars hanging in the balance, and the pervasive whispers of industry chaos. Every studio, every talent agency, every publicist in Hollywood is watching, dissecting every word, every gesture. Will this become a cautionary tale for those who wield immense power without accountability? Or will it solidify the notion that celebrity can, indeed, shield one from the harshest realities? The pressure is immense, an invisible weight pressing down on everyone involved. For Blake Lively, the narrative has long been one of effortless success. But behind the glossy magazine covers and viral red carpet moments, a different story was allegedly brewing, one of demands, of interference, of a relentless pursuit of control that Baldoni's team claims transcended the boundaries of her contract. This wasn't just a minor disagreement. This was, allegedly, a deliberate campaign to undermine a film production, costing the Wayfair parties millions in damages. The accusation itself is a stunning betrayal of industry norms, of the collaborative spirit that is supposed to govern filmmaking. And for Justin Baldoni, the consequences of Blake Lively's initial lawsuit were immediate, brutal, and undeniably public. He lost his talent agency, his awards, his reputation was shredded overnight. He was, as the transcript puts it, publicly rebuked and labeled a sex pest. He was in the middle of an unprecedented crisis, forced to fight back against allegations that threatened to erase his entire professional life. His initial legal complaint, while perhaps sloppy in its haste, was a desperate attempt to clear his name, to scream his truth into the void of public condemnation. Now, as the layers of this complex legal onion are peeled back, we're seeing the stark contrast between public perception and courtroom reality. The judge, in his stern wisdom, has not been swayed by celebrity status or carefully crafted PR. He's looking for facts, for evidence, for the truth buried beneath the headlines. The stage is set for a dramatic reversal, a potential fall from grace that could send shockwaves throughout the entire industry. The air crackles. The anticipation is palpable because everyone knows the next move could change everything for these Hollywood giants. And explode it did. The courtroom, once a crucible of simmering tension, suddenly erupted into a full-blown conflict, a brutal clash of titans that sent shockwaves ripping through Hollywood's carefully constructed facade. The judge, in a move that can only be described as a masterstroke of legal precision, didn't just frown upon Blake Lively's initial strategy, he decimated it. He didn't just suggest that her claims lacked merit, he erased them. Those grand, sweeping defamation claims she brought against Justin Baldoni, poof, gone, evaporated, like a bad dream she'd hoped to impose on reality. The civil extortion allegations, dismissed, wiped clean from the docket as if they were never even conceived. This wasn't a gentle tap on the wrist for a minor misstep. This was a gauntlet thrown down with unflinching force, forcing Lively and her high-powered legal team to scramble, to rethink their entire attack, to face the undeniable truth of their crumbling foundation. This ruling wasn't just a legal defeat for Lively. It was a public rebuke, a critical blow to her carefully cultivated image, while her team, with predictable Hollywood spin, rushed to the press, declaring a hollow victory, a desperate, almost pathetic attempt to control a narrative that was rapidly slipping through their fingers. Judge Lehman was busy turning the tables. He wasn't just playing defense for Baldoni. He went on the offensive, or rather, he empowered Baldoni's team to launch a counterattack that promises to be nothing short of explosive. He didn't just allow them to amend their complaints, he invited them to refine their allegations, to dig deeper, to unearth and showcase additional evidence that could turn the tide faster than a paparazzi flashbulb. And what kind of evidence are we talking about here? We're talking about contracts. Yes, those seemingly dry, mundane legal documents that suddenly become white-hot, explosive smoking guns when they reveal precisely who promised what, and more importantly, who failed to deliver. Baldoni's team is now poised to bring forth new claims that strike at the very heart of Blake Lively's professional conduct. We're talking about alleged breaches of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, alleged intentional interference with contractual relations, This isn't just about a petty disagreement over creative differences. This is a full-blown assault on the core integrity of her alleged actions. The X versus Y setup couldn't be clearer. It's not just Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively anymore. It's integrity versus ego. It's accountability versus arrogance. It's the truth desperately trying to claw its way out from under a mountain of carefully constructed hypocrisy. Baldoni's team is now equipped to argue that Lively's alleged actions, her threats, her demands, her purported attempts to seize absolute control over the production of the film, went far beyond the scope of her contractual obligations. They're ready to prove that her behavior didn't just cause headaches, it allegedly paralyzed the production, costing Wayfair millions of dollars in quantifiable damages. The sheer audacity of the alleged interference, the reported threats to disrupt production, the purported refusal to adhere to contractual duties. This isn't just a Hollywood rumor. It's a legal claim that, if proven, could shatter Lively's carefully curated image of a professional, collaborative artist. The narrative shifts dramatically from Lively as the alleged victim, the star unfairly maligned, to her as the one potentially exposed as an obstructor, her actions now under the harsh, unforgiving glare of the legal spotlight. This conflict is no longer contained within the private discussions of agents and lawyers. It has burst onto the public stage, a gripping drama unfolding with every legal filing, every public statement. What bombshells will these new, refined claims unveil? And how will Lively, whose previous legal gambits have now been so publicly dismantled, possibly defend against this brutal counterattack? The tension is crushing, the anticipation unbearable. And the proof is piling up, isn't it? A relentless, chaotic info storm has begun, stitching together real quotes, leaked documents, and the palpable shift in public sentiment. The judge's decisions weren't born from thin air. They were forged in the harsh reality of evidence, or rather, the glaring absence of it from one side, and the daunting presence of it on the other. It's becoming increasingly clear that Blake Lively's initial legal maneuvers weren't just flawed. They were allegedly fatally flawed, built on a foundation that, under judicial scrutiny, simply crumbled. Remember the initial firestorm around Justin Baldoni? The devastating public backlash that saw him lose his agency, awards, and his very name dragged through the mud? He was painted as a sex pest, publicly rebuked by legions of online voices. He had to act, and he acted fast. His initial complaint, while admittedly sloppy and a bit all over the place in its haste, was a desperate cry for justice, a raw attempt to counter a narrative that threatened to erase his entire career. But in the legal arena, speed often sacrifices precision, and that initial complaint, while emotionally charged, faced an uphill battle due to protected litigation privilege. They had suspicions, they knew something was happening, but the concrete proof, the smoking guns, were still elusive. Now the focus has sharply shifted. The legal spotlight, once intensely focused on Baldoni, has swung with unrelenting brutality onto Blake Lively and her team. Because here's the bombshell revelation: the alleged withholding of crucial evidence. That subpoena from the Van Zandt lawsuit, the one Baldoni's team desperately needs to prove malice, to connect the dots of alleged interference. Lively and her ally, Stephanie Jones, are allegedly playing a dangerous game of hide-and-seek. Despite initial promises to disclose it, they are now resisting its production with every legal loophole imaginable. It's like a missing puzzle piece, intentionally kept out of sight, yet its absence screams guilt to the internet sleuths and legal analysts alike. The reaction? A fresh wave of skepticism, memes highlighting her alleged obstruction, and the chilling question, what are they trying to hide? And then, the ultimate irony of all ironies, Blake Lively's own contracts. Remember that infamous 17-point side agreement? The one she supposedly insisted upon, demanding absolute control over everything from editing to promotion, even wardrobe choices? Well, here's the kicker. It appears much of her alleged interference, her demands to seize control, weren't actually covered by that contract. The judge's observations highlight that her actions allegedly frustrated Wayfair from receiving all the benefits that were contemplated under the contract. This isn't just a minor squabble. It's a direct claim that her behavior injured the production, preventing them from making the movie as intended. The Wayfair parties are preparing to present her full contract to the court, alongside Baldoni's WME contract, to prove that her alleged actions caused millions in damages. Think about the montage playing out in Hollywood now. Studio executives shaking their heads, agents furiously reviewing client contracts, social media ablaze with receipts of Lively's alleged demands, clashing with her supposed contractual limits. The cost increases. The delays, the alleged need for new composers, editors, the exorbitant wardrobe expenses from fittings she supposedly skipped. All of it is being meticulously documented. Baldoni's team is ready to expose the economic damages to the tune of millions of dollars, directly tying Lively's alleged behavior to every single penny of increased expense. The public reaction is a chaotic mix of schadenfreude and outrage. She thought she was above it all? This is what unchecked ego looks like. The evidence, piece by painful piece, is painting a picture not of a wronged celebrity, but of a powerful figure whose alleged actions devastated a production. And the most damning part, her desperate attempt to claim garden variety emotional distress, while simultaneously refusing to provide the very medical evidence needed to support any emotional suffering. It screams desperation. The internet, with its relentless memory, is pulling up every contradictory statement, every past instance of perceived arrogance, fueling the firestorm that now engulfs Blake Lively's once unblemished reputation. The next phase? It's about to reveal the ultimate punchline. And now, for the bitter taste of karmic irony, the kind that Hollywood loves to serve up, especially when it involves a star who once seemed untouchable. Blake Lively, with all her initial arrogance, her confident declarations of victory, her attempts to withhold therapy records, and her bold assertion that she would still make large money from this lawsuit, believed she could have it both ways. She believed she could drop her claims for intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress, claims that would have forced her to expose sensitive medical records and expert testimony, and yet still claim garden variety, emotional distress. She wanted the benefits of being a victim, the public sympathy, the potential payouts, without the accountability of truly proving her suffering. But Judge Lehman, the judge delivered a sobering reality check, a haunting twist that must have sent chills down her spine. If she drops those major emotional distress claims, as she has now agreed to do, a concession born not of magnanimity, but of pure legal necessity, she will likely be precluded from introducing any evidence of emotional distress at all. No medical experts, no costly testimony from psychologists, no official diagnoses of PTSD or severe psychological trauma. Just her word. And in a courtroom, her word against a mountain of evidence that she actively obstructed and allegedly concealed? It's not just a setback. It's a devastating, almost fatal blow to the very heart of her sexual harassment and retaliation claims. Think about the colossal miscalculation. Lively's legal team, in their initial puffed-up arrogance, ran to the press, boasting about dropping the big emotional distress claims, confident they could still rake in cash from other claims. Yet the judge's orders stated, with unmistakable clarity, that by removing them from the case, she would be barred from bringing in emotional distress claims at all. This is the crucial element needed to prove damages for sexual harassment and retaliation under California law. How do you prove pervasive and severe sexual harassment if you can't prove it caused you any emotional or psychological harm? How do you claim retaliation if you can't show how it damaged you? The answer, for Lively, is becoming terrifyingly clear. You don't. The huge windfall she so brazenly envisioned, now it's shrinking to a mere fraction of what she expected. Perhaps hundreds of thousands instead of the millions that intentional infliction of emotional distress claims can command. We're talking about a payout scale for garden variety, emotional distress that ranges from a paltry $50,000 to $150,000 per claim. Compare that to claims for serious psychological injury that can soar into the millions. She is, quite literally, limiting herself from a fortune she once believed was hers for the taking. This isn't just a legal misstep, it's an economic catastrophe for someone who seems to have poured countless dollars into this legal crusade. It's the ultimate comeuppance, isn't it? A star, seemingly convinced of her own untouchability, now trapped by her own missteps, forced to confront the uncomfortable, sobering truth. In the legal arena, even the brightest stars can dim, can crash and burn, when their actions don't align with their claims, when their arrogance outweighs their evidence. She wanted it both ways, the sympathy without the sacrifice, the payout without the proof. But the judge, in his unyielding wisdom, has called her bluff. The curtain is falling on this particular act, and the audience is leaning in, wondering, how much longer can this house of cards stand before it collapses entirely? So, besties, here we are. The dust for now begins to settle on this explosive courtroom drama. But the reverberations are just beginning. Blake Lively, once seemingly impervious, has seen her carefully constructed legal fortress crumble. Her grand defamation claims vanished. Her powerful emotional distress allegations now hanging by a thread, likely to be entirely precluded from evidence. The very documents she tried to wield as weapons, her contracts, now threaten to become the damning evidence against her. And all because, it appears, she sought to have it both ways. The sweeping victory without the rigorous proof, the massive payout without the necessary medical corroboration. This isn't just about a single celebrity lawsuit. It's a stark reminder of how quickly the tides can turn in the fickle world of Hollywood. It's a testament to the fact that even the brightest stars, those who walk the red carpet with an almost divine aura, are ultimately bound by the same laws, the same rules, and the same need for evidence as everyone else. The judge, in his unyielding stance, has made it abundantly clear: no amount of star power, no carefully crafted PR machine can substitute for cold, hard facts in a court of law. But here's the provocative question that echoes across the industry now. Was this the final nail in Blake Lively's legal coffin, effectively ending her high-stakes pursuit for damages and redemption? Or is this merely the calm before the storm, a strategic pause before Justin Baldoni's team unleashes their newly refined, contract-focused allegations, potentially exposing millions in damages directly linked to her alleged interference? The battle over sexual harassment claims will still rage on, but now it's a fight that Blake Lively must wage without the full force of her initial emotional distress claims, fundamentally weakening her position. Think about it. A celebrity who refused to show her therapist records, who fought tooth and nail against providing a crucial subpoena, now faces the sobering reality of having to prove her own case with her own testimony, and that of her friends, against a legal team armed with contracts and claims of millions in actual economic damages. The scales of justice, once perhaps perceived as tilted in her favor, seem to be steadily rebalancing. So, what do you think, besties? Did Blake Lively's alleged arrogance finally catch up to her? Or is there another twist in this unbelievable Hollywood saga that we haven't seen yet? Will this serve as a cautionary tale for future celebrity lawsuits, or just another dramatic chapter in the endless pursuit of fame and fortune? Dive into the comments below, share your theories, dissect the legal maneuvers, and let's keep this conversation alive. Because in Tinseltown, the truth is often far stranger and infinitely more dramatic than any fiction. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you don't want to miss the next explosive update in this must-watch celebrity showdown. And that's the tea for today, my little gossip gremlins. If you enjoyed this drama buffet, don't forget to hit that like button like it's your ex's new partner's Instagram. Aggressively and with zero shame. Beauty. Subscribe to Fame Files so you never miss a single scandal, meltdown, or red carpet disaster. I'm literally serving up hot gossip every single day, even if my Wi-Fi begs me to stop. And listen, be a doll and tap that bell too, okay? Because your girl Macy's got bills to pay, celeb egos to roast, and a grocery cart full of overpriced almond milk that won't buy itself. Shopping cart money. So until next time, stay nosy, stay fabulous, and remember, I spill it so you don't have to sip in silence. Bye.